What? Let me tell you, everybody's a hip-hop critic, but all I want to know is really, what do you know? I've been blessing people with this deep voice, this moist, hoping you understand that my music's top choice. Cultures and nations are starting to see that hip-hop is crazily advanced. Poetry, fluently, it's flowing in like water. Mentally reshaping you just like the new world order was the cause and effect. When I write some good lyrics, it's the sound that you check. But no disrespect, but I question your intellect. Thinking words don't matter, cause you can't comprehend. But the words go too fast, you need a listening class. Cause the quality MC, son, will always amaze your ass. And every word that I write has seen the universe twice. I travel the planets, making sure that I'm nice. So open up your ears, that's my advice. Cause this price is right, but there are no reels on this fortune. Words and whammies will make you press your luck. So I don't care about a Grammy, rather flow for my mammy. So step back and catch this verbal jammy. Cause these skills is real, and it's time you learn the deal.
What's going on, everybody? Oh my goodness. Episode 21, Knowledge is Love podcast. I'm your host, Eric Taylor, Taylored2U Coaching, T2UC, Big 3 Astrology. And tonight, hey you guys, tonight we have a special show with a special guest, a wonderful lady, Miss Angela-Rose, who I will be bringing in a moment. And she's an intuitive healer. She practices human design. We've talked about it a little bit on the show. This is the woman that did my chart, and she's going to share it with you tonight. She uses essential oils for her healing. She practices a lot of different modalities. She's got a great heart. She's a mother, super impressive, intelligent. I worked with her and met her a couple of years ago when I was first getting started doing professional astrology, meeting people live at festivals and stuff like that. And Angela she's the real deal, you guys. And I'm not going to show it to you, but I do have insights on her birth chart, which, like I always tell you, you can tell if someone's the real deal by looking at their birth chart. And Angela's the real deal. So let me not dilly-dally any longer and bring in Miss Angela-Rose.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm feeling so blessed to be here. Very excited to reconnect and dive deeper into this realm of human design with you.
Oh my goodness. I'm so honored and so excited. And I knew as I was building up this podcast, and if you remember, I think I reached out to you almost like a month or two ago to drop like a little hint, because I knew what I was building. And I knew that as my audience has been growing, and I'm so thankful for, my audience and the people that come on. Sorry, let me fix this a little bit. This Virgo here, I got to get things angled up. But I knew that there were different people who practice, different light workers and spiritual healers and intuitives that I was like, that I'm meeting on my path and my journey. And I'm like, oh, they've got to be on the Knowledge is Love podcast, because I want to share knowledge to people, because that is true love. And, we had a great exchange where I did your chart and you did my human design, and it was just amazing. And, and I'd said to you off air, you have to tell the audience if this is true, that once someone does your human design reading for you, it does start a 7-year journey, but it's almost like there's like not like a soul tie, but like a spiritual connection between those people, because you've like introduced me to this modality of human design. Is that correct?
It's correct. It's kind of like the same as Reiki. If you're in that, a certain Reiki lineage or have your teachers, it kind of creates a bond there, and just kind of guiding you through the 7-year process of deconditioning our not selves and all the things that kind of got stuck to us that we have to wiggle loose to kind of tune into our divine blueprint. And that's what human design is all about.
Really. And really
tuning into your divine blueprint of who you came here to be.
Yeah, because we got to unprogram, right? And that's, what I totally got to unprogram. And that's what I teach in my relationship coaching program and stuff like that. So let's kind of jump into it. Before you kind of show certain things, explain and define human design, because I've explained it to my audience and you can say hello to people as they come in and acknowledge people and introduce people for me, right? I always tell people, whether you're my guest or my son, you got to help Mr. Taylor, be my eyes and stuff, and just, let people know.
I got you.
And acknowledge them. But so explain, and then we'll get into that, and then we'll also talk about what we're offering people, our special offer. But explain, what is human design, Angela?
Yay! Human design is a synthesis. It's 5 ancient scientific systems. So we have the I Ching or I Ching, we have the Kabbalah, the chakra system, astrology, and quantum physics. This channel was channeled through a man named Ra Uru Hu in January of 1987. He had an 8-day journey, an encounter with the voice. And it was a transmission that came through him, and you can actually listen to the full story on YouTube. It's called Encounter with the Voice. If you're interested in learning about the whole journey that he went through to receive this transmission for the system we now know as human design. So it takes 2 streams of information. You have your birth date and birth time, but it also takes 88 days before you're born. So you have a conscious stream or personality, and then you have a subconscious or more DNA level that comes in the human design language. It's 88 days before you're born that the soul enters the body. So we have these 2 streams of information that come together to make your body graph. So the system is giving you practical tips and tools on how to tune into your body's wisdom, deconditioning from the mind and tuning into the body, how to relate with others, how to make correct decisions in your life. Are 4 different aura types, so we're all kind of living a different trip and all homogenized to be this one way, when in reality there's so many subtleties. So just talking about knowledge is love and relationships, and knowing about all the types of relationships, your children, your partners, your friends, just having this wisdom information helps us to be better with each other and to forgive ourselves and to hone in on maybe what our superpowers are, even though we've been criticized for this. Or it's just that self-love and self-forgiveness and understanding to create deeper connections and sustaining relationships and move about your world a lot easier instead of fighting the system, just open the pathway.
And like you say, because that's the word too, right? Giving ourselves some grace.
Yeah.
Because, we all do it. We can be pretty rough on ourselves as human beings, and caught up in this patriarchal system and caught up in this sort of like capitalistic world. And I always say one of my E's is that capitalism does not breed humanism. And I think we've all got to come to this place. And I, talk about this through astrology and numerology, and it applies in human design, about kind of really remembering who we are and who we're meant to be and who we're supposed to be. And I look at the astrological birth chart really as the map of your life, right? I was talking to you about your North Node. And it's like God gives you the papers and you're like, okay, got it. And then it's like, you look and you're like, oh, this is the map of my life. And then you got to kind of like play it out, and you want to play it out on your highest vibration, right? Because we can either be very carnal, low vibration, or we can sort of elevate and be light.
It's much more fun that way, really.
Huh?
It's much more fun that way.
Oh, girl, tell them.
Levels.
Tell them, girl.
We enjoy. It doesn't all have to be suffering. So these tools are allowing us to bring more bliss, to bring more satisfaction, joy, success, peace. So that's our birthright.
Amen. That's so true. And it's now, okay, I want to rewind you back because you did go a little Aquarius moon on us. Miss Angela has Aquarius moon, and she got a little technical. And just in case, people watching or even on the replay, so give us, because like I know that I'm a generator, but explain all the names, because you use the term to define the names, but there's like 5 or 6 different ones, right?
There's 4 different types. We have the generators. And they're about 70% of the population. Half of those, 35%, are manifesting generators, and then we have the pure generators. So most of the world is just a generator world. It's the we have that sacral life force energy. We're here to build. We're here to be satisfied. And then we also have the projectors.
Wait, let me interrupt you for 1 second, because I'm getting confused. So before you go to projectors,
Yep.
Is manifesting generators not its own subset?
It's a subtype of the generator.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, yep. So it's essentially there are 4 in the correct teachings from Ra. There are 4 only, and then there's kind of 2 categories of the generator in there.
Got it. All right, thank you. I wanted that clarity because that could be
Yeah.
confusing for people.
Yeah, definitely. I used to say there's, and you can say there's 5 types because they do function differently, but in the system, it's 4 with 2 subtypes of the generator.
Okay, great. So now go back. Now go to the projectors.
All right.
I just wanted to clear that up because that.
Thank you. Yeah, we have so generators are about 70% of the population. Then we have the projectors. The projectors are here to be the guides to help hone in all that energy the generators are throwing around. And they're about 20% of the population. And then we have the pure manifestors. They're here to initiate, create the fire, the spark, the excitement, and then the generators pick it up and carry it out. So they're about 8%, 9% of the population.
Oh,
And then we
okay.
have the
That's enough.
reflectors. Yep, the reflectors are the magical unicorns. They're here to reflect back to us. They're only about 1% of the population.
Wow.
So very blessed to know a few of those.
Yeah. Do you know like a Steve Jobs was one of those, or somebody like that, or Gandhi, or MLK?
I don't think any of them are. I think they're actually, there's like a celebrity charts that you can pull up and check out. So it would be interesting
Okay.
to see the celebrity reflectors. I do know Sandra Bullock, the
Really?
actress, is a reflector. And
Wow.
then Teal Swan, I don't know if you're familiar, has her YouTube videos. Teal Swan is a reflector. So those are the only real celebrity types that I know of at this point.
Okay. But that's that would be kind of fascinating because like I like to give people when I do my astrology placements, right? So like I would explain like, oh, I give them a little tidbit of celebrities and I always explain to them, I don't do this because I'm not like idolizing them, but it's just a reference point that, kind of the collective knows. And so then people can relate like, oh, because you don't know these people, right? But you're like, oh, I know Ellen DeGeneres is an Aquarius sun, or I know Beyonce is a Virgo. You know what I mean? So and so I put that in my videos to let people know, because then that way they can kind of relate like, oh, I've got a Scorpio moon like Beyonce, or I've got a Libra rising like Beyonce, and I don't mean to keep using her, but just,
That makes
different
sense.
examples.
Yeah.
And it's a good, how about Demi Moore as a Pisces rising, so.
There you go. You know them.
So, it's kind of cool. And I think that's fascinating that, that you can share that with people, or that people can find that out and stuff. So we put that in the description down below the link, but, maybe you just like let people know how could they look up to find like a free chart. Now, obviously they could get the free chart, but they don't know what it all means. So then they would have to come to you, right, for a reading, and then you would explain that. So you're going to kind of show some of that with my chart in a minute, but like give them the website and just kind of explain.
Yeah. The website I like to use is the official from Ra Uru Hu. It's the Jovian Archive, JOVIAN ARCHIVE, jovianarchive.com. You click on get your free chart, and it takes your birth date, birth time, and birthplace. So you enter that in, and if you want to do that to follow along as we're talking, there might be some things that you resonate with or you see in your chart.
Hey guys, anybody in? If you guys want to go there, I put the link also. It's in the description of this, and then it's on the description in my community page. And if you wanted to get up your human design and ask, like, live while we're on the air tonight, like, hey, Angela, what does it mean that I'm a 2-4 reflector? Or, you know what I mean? Like, well, can you explain, because that's what, okay, can you explain the profile system? Because there's, like, I'm a 1-3 generator, so there's 1 through 6 in the first line, and the second line 1 through 6. What does that mean?
There's 12 different profiles, so it's kind of like this is the character you're playing in this life. It's like your role or your character. So there's 12 different profiles. Each one has a different archetype. So for you, the 1-3, it's the investigator martyr. And so you're probably really big into researching, as we know, with the astrology, it really fits. And then you test it out. You're the trial and error. You're here to experiment and to see what the truth is, and then to distribute that truth to serve others. But it's called the martyr because it's kind of a tougher path sometimes, where it seems like it may not go right the first time. You're here to work out the bugs in the system. So thank you. You're like breaking the ground. It's the first of the 12 profiles, the trailblazer, the one that's here to, you know, really find the truth and deliver it.
And it's funny that you say that, because I feel like that's been my whole life. Like I bring new insight and information to my family, groups of friends, and sometimes people just like, oh, shut up, Eric. You know, I don't want to hear that foolishness. You're a conspiracy theorist, or you're talking about nonsense, this and that, right? And then what I love is, as 2020 kind of happened, like even the Me Too movement and different things, all these things that I was telling some of my friends, like in the freaking mid-90s to the 90s, were all coming out to play now. And they were kind of like, but you know how, especially your guy friends, like, they don't want to give nobody any credit, but they know in their hearts, like that's the stuff that I was telling them way back when. So I've always been 10, 15, 20 years ahead.
Definitely. So yeah, you're the groundbreaker here. And, you know, the third line is also about, like, you're kind of like a scientist or an anarchist, seeing what the foundation is. This foundation stable? No, then smash it, destroy it. Let's get rid of that, you know, and let's find what really is the truth here. Also comes with, like we said, the built-in lie detector. If you have a third line, it's like you have that inner discernment, especially later in life. You know, the edges kind of smooth out. It's not as intense with the trial and error, and you step into that really wise place.
And that totally correlates with my Scorpio rising. And then the mad scientist is sort of the Virgo sun.
I
Now,
love
what
how
would
it
be
all
my
connects.
Capricorn moon? The Capricorn moon is very kind of, you know, it's very emotionally stable, but it can be not mean, but it can be like, oh, I don't have time for emotions. I'll deal with those later.
Right.
Does that show up in the human design in a way? Like, how would you correlate that?
You know, that's a great question. I
just wondered.
don't know
curious,
exactly about the Capricorn and how that would play into it, but it definitely does work with the astrological.
Well, it's about hard work. Capricorn is about reaching its goals, structure, being organized, disciplined, very disciplined. So, like, my emotions are very disciplined. You know, I'm not going to fly off. You know what I mean? Like, it takes me. I'm slow to kind of anger, maybe, or emotionally respond. But then
well, you're emotionally defined, so that is the emotional wave that you kind of go through. And then you also have a defined will center, which is the access to direct willpower. You have consistent willpower, and to make it happen, that discipline that you're talking about.
Oh, that's
and
the Capricorn moon.
30% of the population actually has this defined willpower center. So
what percentage?
Take it easy. If you don't have it, like, don't be hard on yourself.
Wait, what percentage of the people have it?
30% have access to consistent willpower. The rest of us, 70%, you know, don't always have that full access there. That doesn't mean that you can't. None of this means that you can't. We have everything in the chart. We are all of it. However, there's certain stories we're playing out that we chose to have the best, to learn what we needed to learn, you know?
Right. No, and that totally makes sense. So, do you want to kind of show the chart, or do you want to? I don't know. Not really any questions, right? What do they say?
Baby face. According to Jovian Archive, I'm a 2-4 projector. Split definition of inner authority is solar plexus.
Okay, what's up, baby face? So, what is like?
So the 2-4, the second line is it's the hermit opportunist. So the 2 is the natural talent. Just really gifted, maybe can't always see themselves. It's almost like they have a veil over, so other people will be like, wow, you're amazing. And, you know, just really the opportunity there is to turn it in and really value yourself and do what's right for you. Because maybe some people can say, you should be doing this and this and this and this, but you're going to be the one that really knows, and you have that natural talent, but also kind of going into a place of going out into the world as the 4th line. The 4th line is the networker, the connector, the shaman, the prophet, the opportunist. So you step out and go out into the world, and then kind of come back into your hermit cave and then step out. It's kind of like a missionary, you know, you get called out. The more you hide, the more you try to hide, the more you're seen.
Wow. That's deep.
And the projectors are here for success and recognition.
And what was their percentage again?
They're about 20%.
Okay, babyface.
You're here to help hone in for the generators, to be the cosmic surgeon. You plug right into the heart space of anyone you're interacting with and can kind of download and read, what their needs are, how you can help them. But the projector also has to wait for an invitation or recognition to be
yes, that's what I was going to ask you about. Okay. Now, does that play out for all of them, or is that just a projector thing where they need to be sort of invited?
The projector is the only one that has the need for the direct invitation, but the generators, we have to wait to respond.
Yes.
So it's taught to us, just go out there and do it. Hand out 40 job applications, just go, go, go. But in reality, it's like we turn on our magnetic aura. We have an open enveloping aura, like a warm hug as generators. I'm a generator. Okay. And we turn on our magnets, we put out there what we're looking for, and then we kind of wait for it to come into the reality. Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's a billboard you see. Are you looking to buy a home? It's kind of like the pinball machine where you pull that sacral energy and it's going and you're flapping the flaps before the ball even comes near you and you're exhausted. So it's like waiting for the ball to come in so you can hit and get to where you're wanting to go. But there are projected channels. So some of the channels in human design, which we'll get to, are projected. So they work best if you're invited to speak or invited to share your wisdom. And if you don't get that invitation, it can be maybe not received as well, or as openly.
So one thing that human design definitely does, it kind of gives us almost like astrology, right? That map of like how you can allow the energy of your aura and just the energy in your body and your chakras to benefit and work best for you. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got dropped off on this planet with no handbook, no rule book, but with the astrology and the human design and all these, it's like we kind of have a chance here.
No, it's such a help. And this is why, you know what, Angela, I tell people all the time, and I'm so real when I say this, right? I don't care if you get a birth chart reading from me or Joe Blow, the next one. Now you want someone that's going to be, really work hard for you and be the investigator like I am, right? But get it done. Right? Get your human design, get your numerology, get your birth chart, because this is information that's been kept from us for a long time that is here to literally help us figure things out. Because like without it, you're walking around kind of like blind and naked.
Around.
Oh my gosh.
For the children, that's the big focus is raising our children according to their charts and understanding about them and not creating them to be something they're not. So the human design is a direct reflection of the astrology. So that's hugely a passion for me, is getting the kids
and
raised according to their blueprint.
We had spoken about that a while ago, and I want to come back to and kind of do readings for my boys because I do know their birth charts, and that totally helps me. But then the next phase of that, right? And I know the numerology, but the next phase is learning their human design, because you see these beautiful lights, right? And this world wants to direct them totally a different way. But when you get this other information, you know how to kind of guide them.
And they can come back to the self and be centered in who they are and not get swayed by all of the shininess out there that might not lead in the right direction. So just giving them that sense of self, of this is who I am and this is how I make decisions. The decision making alone is huge.
It's huge.
I wish I would have had this when I was a kid or a teenager.
Well, tell our audience though, because you're a mother of two boys, and how do you feel that it helps you be a better mother with this knowledge?
My boys are both generators. One's a manifesting generator, one's a pure generator. So even just knowing like about bedtime, for example, you can get mad all you want about a generator kid not going to bed, but they literally have to run their energy. They have to run their mental energy out and their physical energy out. Otherwise they'll be laying there awake, and you can try any meditation you want.
Now that's just the generator, or is that for the manifesting generator as well?
Manifesting, all the generators. So manifesting generator and pure generators. We have to run up.
So they have to
go to bed when we're exhausted.
Okay.
Go to bed when you're exhausted. You have to run it all out, and then you will sleep correctly, sleep well.
That's my whole life story you just defined right there.
Yeah. Falling asleep at the computer, just as going as much as we can.
Well, but even that would have helped me in college, right? Because I found that I did my best work and papers 2, 3 in the morning. Like I wasn't tired. And so it's so funny because show you how it all connects. Even in doing Ancestry DNA, it talked about me just not being a good sleeper, right? And then
Mhm.
my births are different placements, needing to burn the energy. So that's amazing.
Yeah, quench natural. As a mom of 4, I definitely see the value and want to learn more about the human design of my kids and myself. I think it'll bring more peace to the house. It's definitely changes things because for my son, he's emotional authority. So sometimes he has the solar plexus defined, which means he goes on a wave through the day. So I'm just with him. I know that if he gets really upset, I used to chase him and try to make him feel better or comfort, or if he's up, but I know that now I let him go. He goes
Okay.
off and does his thing. He has his moment. He moves through his mutation in a way, and then he'll come back and be like, "Hi, Mom," and he'll be fine. So it's just
That sounds exactly like one of my sons. Oof, we definitely got to do.
yeah.
We got to do a reading for that. Wow, that's deep.
It's
That
beautiful.
is deep.
It
So
even goes
okay,
down to like their diet. One of my sons is actually nocturnal. So he's supposed to eat his meals at night and sleep during the day. And he naturally will stay up till 1 in the morning if he's allowed and sleep till 11. So even just knowing that about him, I can cater and not get upset when
but
he
how do you
wants to
have to
eat all
guide that?
night,
Obviously,
you
he has
know?
to get up for school, right?
Right. So it is obviously he can't get a night job. He's 8 years old. He does need to do school. So in those cases, we just make sure we really run him and give him physical energy exertion and,
Okay.
lots of things like that. And just once I get him in a different routine, it's fine. But left to his own devices, he'll be up later than me, like every night.
Okay, that sounds like one of my twins.
Mhm.
One goes to bed, fall asleep anywhere easy. The other one, he wants to be up to like 1, 2 in the morning, like his dad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Okay, yeah, that's really deep. So wow, even to the diet. So give me an example. Like, what would it be for the projector for sleeping and eating? Like sort of like Babyface.
Well, the eating isn't related to the aura type. It's
Okay,
actually
it's to the
deeper in the
profile.
design. But for the projectors are meant to take naps. You don't have access to that sacral life force energy, that regeneration all the
Wow.
time. So taking naps, resting, going to sleep before you're tired, and sleeping alone. It's very important for projectors. I know not all the time, but if you are one, at least once a week, sleeping in your own aura, because your aura is focused and absorbing. So you're absorbing all of the conditioning, all of the things of the person that you're sleeping next to. And if you're sleeping next to a generator as a projector, their sacral motor is still going, going, going. So they
Whoa.
might
Okay,
not be getting full
that's
rest.
huge. So you're
Yeah.
saying they're like an energy sponge, almost like a Pisces moon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So
So
sleeping
sleep. So
alone.
even if they're married, would you say even if they're married, sleeping alone once or twice a week would be healthy for them?
Absolutely. So healthy for everyone, really. And even animals impact the aura. So even sleeping with your animals can kind of shift and change and not get the best sleep there. Another thing I recommend is if you do sleep with a partner and you're a projector and you have a generator partner, getting a big long selenite crystal and kind of putting it in the mattress or imagining, our intentions are powerful. So imagining your bubble, setting your space when you go to sleep, having that little selenite in between the mattress there to kind of create that space. Anything you can do, but if you can
And that's the
sleep in
best
your own
crystal
aura,
for that.
yeah, yeah, I
Wow.
love the selenite. You can buy the long flat ones
Okay.
really well.
That's
And
wow.
any of the clearing, black tourmaline would work really well too.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Hmm. Now let me ask you this though, because this is fascinating. So what about if you have plants in your bedroom?
The plants actually do have certain gates and life force energy. It is recommended in feng shui, I know, to not sleep with plants in your bedroom because they give off a lot of energy and can keep you awake and things like that. Um,
But then
Especially
isn't it supposed to be
plants that
good
are
for your
spiky.
oxygen though?
Yeah, to clean the air, it's like a give take kind of thing. I don't seem to have issues with the plants. I know that there is also different, like if you have plants with rounded leaves, it's more calm energy for the bedroom compared to plants with like spiky leaves. They give off
Okay.
a different type of energy. So if you want to have plants in your bedroom, rounded, smooth leaves, I would say would be the best bet.
Wow. That's deep and helpful. And you know, it's so funny. It's so deep that you said this, but while we're talking about sleep, I just want to drop this jewel in. My wife and I have started sleeping a while ago because one of our sons needed to use it. A weighted blanket. It is a game changer. It gives you the best sleep ever. But then the next game changer, tape over your mouth. And the tape over your mouth, it makes you, one, you're not releasing your prana, right? You're breathing only in and out from the nose, right? And then it helps with sleep apnea. It brings more oxygen to the brain. And it's so healing for the body. And I've been doing it, I think, a little bit over a week now, sleeping so much better. Between the weighted blanket and the tape over the mouth. Try it tonight.
Oh my gosh, I'll try the tape.
You'll be like,
I
Eric,
actually
oh my
did.
God, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was almost one of those moments like, oh, like, I wish somebody had told me this.
That's awesome. Can I do it for my kids? No.
Yeah. Well,
Come on, children.
No, we just started it with the boys and they love
You
it.
did?
Yes, my
Wow.
12-year-old did it and then one of my 7-year-olds did it. So yeah, they're not too young. Just make sure they, get their water or their mouth is good,
Right.
Whatever, before they're ready for bed. And then you put the tape and just let them know, just go to sleep and relax. And, you can breathe through your nose and everything's going to be fine. And it's like, it is amazing rest. And, I suffered, and I told you this before, but I don't know if you remember, I suffered for about 6-7 years, really horrible health issue with valley fever. And that's what got me into chronic illness coaching. And the valley fever messed up my sleep. So I went through so many different things. And so like just knowing this now, it's great to help my clients with my chronic illness coaching, but I wish I knew this just for myself because I suffered, you know what I mean? And sleep, as you know, sleep is so crucial for your physical, mental, and spiritual health.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's like, and
I'm a different person if I get that 8 hours.
Yes, and that's the key too. People, don't be a superhero and Mrs. or Mr. Macho. I only need 6 hours. No, you don't, because that's not enough. It's not healthy. 8 to 10 hours, just like a gallon of water a day. You need your sleep. You need your water. It is crucial for your health. It's super duper duper important. So do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the Reiki, or do you want to, do you want to screen share and show?
Yeah, let's stick on the human design train. I'm just looking at the comments here. Leaping through time. Says, I pick up other people's energy in the house, especially at night. Curious if you are a projector or a generator, if you looked at your chart, leaping through time.
Yeah, I put the link down below.
Let me know. Let me know if you're a projector, generator, what's going on there. It's interesting too, because if you live in an apartment complex, you're sharing an aura. So you could be sleeping in a bed, and if the other person's bed is on the other side of the wall, guess what?
Oh my God.
You're sleeping in their aura and you're absorbing.
Really? I never even thought of that.
Just all that together, So it's something to think about.
So our auras are that strong that even through a wall in different apartments, you can.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a game changer, Angela. I didn't even think of that. That's like, and then so much more, right? Especially I would think, and this leaping has this, if you're a water moon, because you're more receptive. She's a Cancer moon. And if you're a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces moon, you're going to be more receptive to the next person's energy and aura.
She's saying, wow, this explains so much. We're happy about that. I love it. Welcome.
Yeah, no, listen, I told you guys I was bringing on a heavy hitter for you. Okay, I told you, so, okay. Well, if there are any more questions, we can answer those. But if not, you can bring that up and we can screen share it.
All right. Let me know everyone can see this okay. I can't see the comments anymore now. I wonder if there we go. Now I can. Can you guys see the screen share?
Yep.
This is the body graph. So on the right-hand side here, we have all of the black lines, the black gates. So this is referring to the 64 lines of the I Ching.
Okay.
So the gate. So you have the black, which is your birth date.
And explain real quick, what is the I Ching? I mean, is it kind of
It's a
Chinese
Chinese
astrology?
system. Chinese system. There's 64 lines. It kind of each correlates to a different aspect in your life. I am not a seasoned veteran in the I Ching expert. Yeah, that's not something I've dove into a lot yet, but just mostly with just these different gates. It also kind of goes into the gene keys as another area that correlates with these 64 gates and the I Ching. So lots of side quests. There's so many side quests you can go into.
Okay.
So it's kind of like astrology, like the time you're born is, if you're born July 22nd, you're Cancer, or if you're born, it's the same way with the human design. Whatever the neutrinos are doing at the time of your impact here on Earth, this is where you get your chart. So it changes every minute, every hour. To the left, we have the subconscious. And this is the information that comes through 88 days before you're born. And then to the right is your birth date.
So let me ask you, what is my subconscious showing?
Well, you have all of these, the channel of community you have in the subconscious. So subconsciously, you're here to serve the community. You're looking for your own personal community, how you can best serve. Everything kind of revolves around building community and showing up and offering what you're here to offer for us. And it seems like that's right on track with who you are, especially in this space. Yeah. So, and just because it's unconscious doesn't mean that we're not aware of it, especially if we've done a lot of this work and
and I've done the work
and things. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask you, because how would that correlate to, like, I have Uranus in the 12th house in Libra, and I get a lot of visions and dreams that happen in real life. So does that kind of explain that? And that I can astral travel and see things in the future, or even see people that I'm not currently with? Would that correlate with that, or?
There is the dream rave. There is a whole different chart when you're sleeping, which we talked about a little bit.
Oh, yes.
So that kind of impacts everything.
Angela, once you master that, we'll have you back on.
I know. I did look for you. You're a projector in the dream realm.
Shut up.
Same as me. Yeah. So once I get more seasoned in that, we'll come and do another show.
Okay. Oh, no, we definitely will. That's awesome.
Yes. And then these are all the planets to the side here. So you have a gate, like your sun. So it's the same as astrology, where gate 45 is the most impactful. It's about 70% of your chart. And then you have all the other planets. So you have gates that are in specific planets. So that gives you more information. But that is really advanced for the system. Really, the most important things you want to know for human design is your aura type, your strategy, and your authority. And you can work with those three things only for the first year. And until you're working in your aura, learning how that works and following your true body's authority, then all the other things kind of come into play more. But it's really important to get the basics and to start your experiment.
Now, what are those three? What's the aura?
The aura type. So that'll be your generators, your projectors, manifestors, reflectors.
And then the next one?
And then each one of those has a strategy. So the generators is the wait to respond. Projectors.
Right. My generator is wait to respond, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All generators.
All generators.
Respond. Okay. All generators. Yep. Okay. Projectors waiting for invitation. The manifestors are supposed to, their strategy is to inform, because they have like a straight shot. So they need to say, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing, not asking for permission, but informing others so they can either get out of the way or join them.
I think that's my wife.
So strong boosting. And that's a little bit true for the manifesting generators in a sense as well, because they do have that manifestor energy. And then the reflectors are to wait a lunar cycle. So they wait 28 days to make their decisions.
Wow.
So it's a whole, it's really fascinating with them. So following your strategy, and then each person has their own unique authority.
Okay.
So for you, that's your solar plexus. So the space right above the belly button, your personal power center. That's your authority. For me, it's the sacral, or my womb. That's my authority. And they each function in a different way.
Okay. Now, this is not like, I don't know if this is like I don't know. I'm just going to ask the question. So could men have that as well? the womb? Is there?
Yes, I'm just saying womb since I'm female, but the reproductive center, the sacral,
Okay, so
right
more
below
like the
the
root
belly
chakra.
button. Men, it's right above. It's the sacral chakra. So if you look at
Oh, the
this
sacral
picture,
chakra.
it's kind of like the chakra system. You have the crown, the third eye, the
Yeah,
throat. This yellow diamond here is the higher heart or the identity.
yeah,
And then you have the physical heart or the ego center.
yeah.
And then we have the sacral
Sacral.
and the root. And then to the left, we have the spleen, and to the right, we have the solar plexus. So this is a two-dimensional, but if you look at it in the body, it's more of a three-dimensional. So the solar plexus is kind of curved around behind the solar, or the above the sacral. But just for these purposes, the two-dimensional, we're looking at the solar plexus on the right and the spleen on the left.
It's so fascinating.
And
I hope
so,
you guys are loving this. I'm telling you, you guys. And listen, I want you guys to know, Angela and I are doing a blowout deal. It is only $225 to book a human design reading, and you have to book both, a birth chart reading. And if you've already gotten a birth chart for me, you can do a solar return chart or a synastry relationship compatibility chart, whatever. But if you book both, it's only $25 only until Sunday at midnight, because this is such a steal that, you know, we're just really doing this because this is a special union that had to get done. And we really, you know, we're both healers, and we want you guys to get this knowledge. Okay. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yay. All right, let's see here.
So any other like tidbits that you could share with them? You know, I'm not trying to give them all my insights.
Yeah, we'll talk about the centers. So if you have an open center or the white, that means that's where you're a student. Those are the areas where you're most conditioned. Those spaces take in the energy from others and amplify it.
So that means what? Am I like a lifetime student? Like I love to learn?
Everyone's got, I mean, not everyone has open centers. There are people who have all 9 defined, but these are the fixed centers. So the ones that are colored in, you have consistent access to this energy. Those are where you're going to light up other people. It's almost like your open centers are where you're the most empathic. You're an empath in the mind. You're an empath in the crown, receiving these divine downloads in the throat, being able to amplify and speak. And that's the manifestation portal too. So if you have an open throat, we're actually also
That's
not meant
probably
to
good
be
for me as an
talking all the time.
as an
You know?
MC, is good for as a lyricist and a freestyle
Yes,
rapper. Yeah.
absolutely. You can come in with different voices, different styles. It's free flowing.
Oh yeah. Wait. It's so funny you just said that, Angela. I have a song called Voices. And
What?
it says, I'm hearing voices in my head, but I'm not dead. I'm hearing voices in my head, but you're not dead. I'm hearing voices in my head, but what should I do? I'm hearing voices in my head, and what, you know, so that's it. Yeah.
Yep,
That's funny.
and you know, different characters. Like a lot of times, the actors, you know, the open
Yeah.
throat, they can
Well,
kind of
I'm an actor
build
in
their
sketch
voice,
comedy.
and yeah. And the throat center too, if you have an undefined throat, it's kind of one of those things like the projector where it works best if you're invited to speak. So sometimes it, you know, it can also feel like pressure. If I'm around someone who has a defined throat or colored in throat, I'm going to want to try really hard not to interrupt them. And it's like pressure to get out what you're trying to say. So practicing that patience and, you know, learning to wait to be invited to share your insights. Even though you're not a projector, the open throat tends to have that quality as well sometimes.
Okay. So does that mean I should wait for invitations to speak or no?
You know, play with it. This is all an experiment. So that's the whole point of the system. It's like you get these tools, you get this wisdom, and then you have to go out and try it out. You experiment, you test it. Like,
Well, no,
okay.
I find it fascinating, and I'm asking because I can remember as a child being very verbal and talkative, but
Yep.
photo yin yang, also very shy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, even as an adult, if I say to my wife or I say to people, I'm kind of shy, they're like, you?
Right.
And I know my audience, like, people are like,
Mm-hmm.
Eric, you're definitely not shy. Like, well, no, if I am at a house party and I don't know people, I kind of will wait to be spoken to.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm the kind of like the analyzer. I like study everybody.
Right. Well, and the one the first line, it's really important for you to have alone time. It's imperative.
Oh,
One
I
has to be
have to have
alone.
alone time.
Has to be alone to integrate. Even if it's just the shower at the end of the day, you know, especially with kids, we don't always get that alone
No.
time. But setting that aside is really important. And then you also have a projected gate. So this gate 18 is the gate of judgment, or the gate of joy, and it's you're here to see what's not working. Same
Yes.
as the third line. And if you point it out to people all the time and they're not ready to receive it, then it can be kind of not received well, and you can feel a jolt back, and maybe they feel like
Oh,
you're
right. So that's
but
sort
if
of
you're
like my
invited to share and
So
say,
like they can
hey,
feel like I'm judging them. That's my
yes,
Virgo and Mercury.
yes,
Somebody might think I'm being overcritical, analytical, and nitpicky. Yeah.
yep.
No, I've dealt with that.
So, you know, that the way to get through that is just to say, you know, I have some insight. If you're open, asking the right questions. That's the
Right.
strategy for projectors too, is how to get invited, is asking the right questions. So it's same with these projected gates or this open throat center. You're just like, I have some insight to share. Would you be open? Instead of just like, that's wrong. That's wrong. You know, my son has the gate 18, and be the best day ever. I just take him, you know, to the lake, and he'll find the one thing that wasn't right, and it's the worst day, and that's all he focuses. Or like the things that I don't do, he'll see. So it's like I have
That's
to
what one of my kid always says. This was the worst day
okay.
ever.
Yeah. They just hyper focused on
And
what's
I'm like,
wrong.
wait a minute, you just
On
had
third line
cake.
right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, you just had cake. You played video games, this and that. How is it the worst day ever? Because one bad thing happened.
Exactly. Yep. Wonder if he's got that 18. We'll have to check it out.
We'll find out soon. I bet he does. Good.
Mhm.
Wow, that is so awesome. Okay. This is you see, and this is, you guys, this is why I wanted to not just have Angela on, but to share this, because I know a little bit about human design and she introduced me to it, but there's still so much that I know about the kind of generator and the 1-3, but I don't know about these gates and the different things.
Right.
And that's so, you know, deep and next level, but it's so helpful when someone gets a reading with you, you know, that, you know, you kind of give them this insight so they can understand, because when we apply this to our lives, oh my gosh, it is. I mean, just what you explained to us about the sleep and eating and the auras, that alone can change someone's like whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yep. There's so many side quests. I've been studying the system for about 6 years now, and I feel
Okay.
like I could know just 1% because there's so much to go into.
So
And
it's
I'm
interesting you
finding
said
even
that. So you're at 6 years. So do you think at the 7th year, because you said it's a 7-year process to kind of, will that give you what more insight you feel to just your own chart? Or do you think that
Well, I
will
think
take
what
it to another
happens is
level?
once you're following your strategy and your authority consistently, the world opens up in a new way.
Okay.
And things that we may not have had access to before, the smooth lines, the easy flow, all of those things are really start living your path, and then you get
Wow.
access. It's kind of like that. You talk to me about the Aries North node and the
Yes.
Libra South node, and it's like you come from that Libra South node of doing it this way, and then once you tap into who you're here to becoming and living according to your blueprint, it's like, here you go. This is what you've been waiting for. Your life opens. You're working the jobs you want to work. You're having good relationships with others because they're according to, you know, who we are instead of who we
Well,
want
we're gonna
someone to
get into
be or
that.
who we're
I'm
taught.
gonna talk about Angela's chart a little bit, so we get into that definitely. No, you're so right, and it makes so much sense. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm blown away. Any comments or questions, you guys? This is really amazing. It's like,
I
oh
need
my
the world to
gosh.
open up in a new way. Yeah, we all do. I'm gonna stop sharing this. And,
Okay.
I
Oh,
did want to actually. I'm gonna go into it one more time because
okay.
I want to share this part of it too, because just like astrology moves throughout, we also have the just now chart. So this is the collective. So at any given, like I don't necessarily have a defined throat center, but in the collective energy right now, the throat center is defined. So it means I have access to that throat to speak, to move. I'm also might be feeling a little more emotional or feeling like I can speak from my emotional center because I don't normally have the emotions defined, but we have these two channels active right now, which is all about
So that's perfect
your
sense
feeling.
that
Mhm.
right now the sun is in Cancer and Mercury is in Cancer. So that would line up with exactly that. And just think of what we've all been going through, right? If everyone's
Right.
kind of been the last year and a half kind of more isolated from people, more at home,
Mhm.
now you want to get back to sharing your emotions, good or bad, because we're
Yep.
seeing in the world for the collective, right? People are kind of colliding, but there's also this reconnection of love and family and seeing your grandparents and cousins and people that you haven't seen because we've been so isolated. So that makes sense that that's the energy in the collective because it's coinciding with what? Ta-da! Sun in Cancer,
Yeah.
Mercury in Cancer. That's so deep.
That's beautiful. I love the connections. It's my favorite.
It's amazing.
Uh-huh.
You guys
And
see
we
that?
also
That's like,
create a third entity when we enter into the aura of someone else. So it's like, here is Eric, and here's Angela. And then when we come together, we create this whole other chart. And so you can go into the relationships and see, what are we here to learn from each other? What are our challenges? How is my aura impacted by yours? How does my authority change when I'm around you? Like, it's so much
okay,
to
so
go
tell
into.
us a little bit. What does it say?
So for me, I'm sacral authority, which means You ask me, Angela, do you want to come on a podcast? And I'm like, yes, my body lights up. I have energy to follow through on this. Or And for you, with the solar plexus defined, which is about 50% of the population, it's more of a wave. It's, if I ask you when you're on the lower part of the wave, you might be like, no, I don't want to do a podcast. Or yes, I do, but you're meant to sleep on it. You're meant to go through your wave, feel it out, get clarity, say, let me check in and get back to you, and then you can answer. So when I'm with someone, whether we create that definition together or they are emotionally defined already, like you are, then I kind of hop on that wave with them. And I might not be as in tune with my because the emotional center trumps everything in the authorities. So if I'm around my son, his emotional authority, and I need to make a big decision, I will leave his aura, walk outside, get into my own space so I can really feel my so we are
Oh,
impacted. When we come together, it kind of changes a little bit.
that is amazing. And that explains like a lot. Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
Oh my gosh. So now what else does it say, like in terms of like what does it say like things we're supposed to learn from each other or?
Yeah, there's all different types of connections. So there's the friendship or companionship channel. So we have the channel of struggle, or a design of being stubborn. So we share that channel, and that's like when you have a companionship channel, it's like you see the world through the same eyes, but that stubbornness or that struggle is that struggle to find the joy, to break through, to keep going. That even when it's pressure, we struggle through it, or we have that stubborn to get through, to bring us to the joy. So it's like a design of determination. And then we have compromise channels. I could open it up here, but it shares a little bit more info than I usually.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay.
But we do have the connection from the mind to the throat as an electromagnetic. So the electromagnetic channels means you have a gate and I have a gate, and they zing, they connect and create a channel. Because the way that the channels are created is you have two matching gates. So you'll see up here, the 64 is defined, and the 47, that creates a channel. And then that's why these are colored in and defined, because it has a full connection. Whereas right here, normally you just have the 47, you don't have the 64. So that means that these don't have a direct connection to be defined. That's how the definition happens. And so the electromagnetic channels means that I would have gate 17 and you have 62. So when we come together, it's a zing, and it's like, that's your superpower. And so if you have a lot of those connectors, it's all mechanics. That's the attraction. You see someone when you're, out dancing, and it's like, ooh, hello. It's like, usually it's some type of electromagnetic channel that's creating that spark to bring you together. And
and that's what's so fascinating. because you think about for relationships, right? And I try to tell people all the time, like,
Mm-hmm.
we are really energy, and it is kind of like the energy aura, the field, right? The auras, but it's also even our pheromones, right? Like how someone smells, which taps into like the Black Moon Lilith, and we were talking about that, and we're going to get into that in a second, you guys, when I talk about Angela's chart. But that's amazing. Wow, that's
And there's certain channels that impact that more too. Like another example is the channel of mating, which you have with the, how many children? How many children do you have?
yeah. I was going to say
That's
I have 4 sons, 3 biological.
Yep.
But and then I have some that are up in heaven, So
Mhm.
I've been a mater.
Yes. And you can also bring that fertility to others. So working with couples and like your aura creates fertility in other people as well, and
Oh,
creates, and not even just birthing children, but birthing anything.
like
Creation, life force,
birthing a
birthing your
relationship, a
business,
friendship,
relationships.
a business chart, a business. Yeah. Well, that makes sense because as I always joke with people, I always tell people anyone should have a Virgo sun or even Virgo Mercury friend as like their personal assistant or a cheerleader. Because I love to salute people. I love to big people up, and I love to inspire others to be their best selves. So I do that in my coaching. So that totally makes sense.
Yep.
Even when I do business birth charts, like I have given away so much free like insight and $1 million ideas to people because like it comes to my mind and I'm just like, this is not for me, right? It's sort of like a gift from God and it's not for me, and I have to give it to you because it's yours. That explains that. That's wow.
And that's the channel 214. That's the channel 214, and that's all about, it's the channel of being the keeper of the keys. What did I say with this one? It's a mutative channel. So people come into your aura and you're here to help them mutate, evolving their consciousness, bringing them to their self-love, bringing them to the love of others. Like that's kind of you're an initiator in a sense.
That is so me. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
That's like insane. Okay, let's enough about me. I want to talk about the Reiki, and then from the Reiki, we're going to go into, and I'm not going to bring it up or whatever, but we're going to go into. I'm going to share some insights to your chart because the chart, if I bring it up, it's like I feel like the birth chart sometimes can be too personal, but so give us some insight. Like, okay, I know what Reiki is, but how do you practice it? And then I know you kind of said you bring in the essential oils. Like, explain people like if they wanted to book a Reiki reading with you, because you can also do Reiki through Zoom, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Anywhere in the world. I actually did one this morning. There's someone in Colorado. So it works. Time and space does not matter. Even, so you can send Reiki to your past self, your future self. I had someone taking a test today, so we put a Reiki bomb on their seat for when they sat down to kind of drop and receive that energy at a different point in time. But the way that the sessions work, that's my favorite. The way the sessions work is you come in and it's fully clothed, you lay down. I do hands-on. Some people who are practicing Reiki just hover above, but I really believe if the person's comfortable that we all need touch and that that's important. And you can come in with an intention. You can come in with just, hey, clear my energy, or I really need to get a new job, and depending on what you're working on is where we go within the chakra system. If you're looking to make more money, or you would work with the root center, you would work with the confidence center, and then just bringing in the essential oil. So it's hands-on, sometime a little bit of massage or movement, or even just with the fingers. I use essential oils, drums, singing bowls, rattles, flutes.
I remember your singing bowls. Those are awesome.
Yeah. So I just bring in all the stops, and just, it's an experience. And Reiki is an intelligence, it's divine intelligence. So it is directed where it needs to go. And the idea is that you're not fixed. You don't need fixing. You're not broken. You're not coming to be healed. I'm holding space for your wholeness. I'm holding space for you to come into alignment to heal yourself. And it's that time, that permission to get on the table, take everything out of the mind. Nothing else matters, and just be with your breath, be with yourself. And everything is welcome. All the emotions. Sometimes we go into the different organs, like the liver holds the anger, So if there's a lot of anger stored, you know, we might go into the liver, talk to the liver, talk with the inner child, sing songs with the inner child. It's really just unique to whoever comes in. I'm open. I'm an open channel. So whatever you're needing, whatever you're calling out to,
anyway, and I want you to, even though the information is down below, I want you to give all your information, but I want to tell the audience this stuff. Okay, so I've seen her in action doing this, you guys. It is amazing. Like, and I was busy working myself, so I wasn't able to get a Reiki session with her, which I will do in the future. But it was like, I was just like, when she talks about the the bells and the massage and just like what you create like an experience. Mm-hmm. And I've had Reiki done before. So, but I'm very in tune with energies. And so I was, watching, I was peeping it. I put you on peep and I was peeping it and you're legit. And it was so great. And guess what? I know you guys, not only because I've seen her chart, but I've had clients that have worked with Angela and they loved her Reiki, her Reiki session. So I recommend it to any of you guys on here. So before we get into me talking about you've talked enough about me. I'm going to talk about you a little bit. Just give everybody your information in terms of how to book Reiki or human design with you.
Beautiful. Yes. My email is one way, and that's AngelaRose.B@86@gmail.com. You can also find me at raisethevibration.org. That's the studio I'm working out of with a woman named Nicole Duran. So she has the Raise the Vibration. I will be offering Reiki out of there. Also long distance. The human design sessions can be done anywhere in the world because we do it through Zoom. That way I can screen share my software with you. We can record it because it's a lot of information. You're going to want to watch this over and over again as you go through the process of your experiment. So it's nice because you get that visual. We're both on the screen. You can watch it as many times as you need, and it can be done anywhere. And then I also, let's see. Yeah, and Reiki can be done online too. So the best place to book is either through email or visiting raisethevibration.org.
Okay.
For Reiki.
So just to let you guys know, right? So like I said, so I'm not going to give exact information, but so you already said like you're born on July 22nd. Miss Angela is born she's a Cancer, but she's born on the cusp of oscillation, the Cancer Leo cusp, which is really, it's like literally
fire water.
It's literally the moon and the sun together, and it's a dynamic energy. But she's also Aries rising, right? And so the two most rare rising sign ascendants are Aries and Pisces. Okay. And so when you have the Aries ascendant, it makes you authentically you. Like Angela's not putting on a show. She doesn't even know how to be fake. She's this quirky Canadian girl, and this is her. This is Angela. You know what I mean? Like she's her. And so that's the Aries rising, though, is very much about, meaning Mars would be her chart ruler, right? So she is about initiation. She is sort of the maverick, the leader, the pioneer, right? Now, we're going to kind of just go around a little bit, but she does have her sun in the 4th house. So as you guys have heard me talk about on here, usually when you have the sun in the 4th house, it means your parents can get divorced, or dad is not necessarily so much in your life growing up. Doesn't mean that he's dead or gone. It doesn't mean he's a deadbeat. You guys can get closer as you age, but dad's sort of not always in the picture so much. Now, is that kind of the case?
Yeah, that's right on. Mm-hmm.
Right on, right? And so what's awesome, though, Angela has Black Moon Lilith, and we'll get back to the Aries in a second because I want to talk about that North Node, but she has Black Moon Lilith and Chiron in the 3rd house in Gemini. Okay. So Angela, we were talking about this. She could be a little shy at times in terms of like maybe communicating or whatever, but when she trusts her gut instinct, more in like what we were talking about, right? And you'd have to let us know with your human design because we haven't seen it. But when you get kind of in touch with that gut instinct and that root chakra, you find your voice, and you have to find and trust that God has got you. and that you have got this knowledge and information and the exchange of ideas to share with people, and people need Angela to show up. And she's showing up tonight. You guys needed this, and she's showing up tonight.
I'm here.
She's here. Ta-da! You know what I mean? And it's so perfect. Now, we didn't talk about this, but oh my God, Angela also. So the Mercury, she has Mercury and Leo in the 5th house. We don't need to get into it, but super creative. And she's, she can be dynamic in her speech and communication, and but she speaks from her heart. Okay. And so I don't know if your heart sacral or your heart chakra is open in your human design, but having the Mercury
have a defined identity center. Yes.
You do. Shut up. Oh my God. Okay.
I do have a defined identity, self. Yeah. The gate of self-love. I'm here to teach about that.
That's Mercury and Leo. Okay. And then the Pluto in the 8th house in Scorpio, now that's a generational planet. But when it's in the 8th house, there's a lot about you transmutating and transforming your life. And in terms of how you, because it's opposing the 2nd house of earning money. So it's going to show like how you need to invest your money, how you might deal with, an inheritance. But just in general, the 8th house is about your power, your control, your obsession, your sex, intimacy. And so you're going through a process, your soul psyche is going through the process of transforming how you deal with intimate relationships like marriage, right? How you deal with learning to trust others. That's your big lesson, because once you let go and let God and truly surrender, then the flow of marriage and deeper intimacy and not being controlled by a partner or controlling or obsessing about love, all that stuff will dissipate, because as you surrender and kind of let go and let God, and that's a big thing for the Scorpio Pluto generation, because you have such magnetic power. And with it being in the 8th house, you are definitely an investigator. You are definitely about doing the research and investigating this ancient knowledge, including the essential oils, including the human design, including metaphysical healing, intuitive healing, all this stuff. Then you need to be the healer and teach it.
Yes.
So that's the Pluto in the 8th house in Scorpio for you. It's like totally you, right? We won't get into your 9th house, but the 10th house is oh my God, what did you have in the 10th house? The Capricorn. I forgot what you had there. There was something interesting in the 10th house. Oh, that's right. The Mars and the Neptune in the midheaven. So it's literally like, now let me ask you this. Do you do any yoga or Tai Chi or anything like that for your own self?
Yes, yoga and dancing.
And dancing. That's what it was.
Yeah, for sure, dance.
Mars and Neptune in the 10th house of Capricorn, you could probably even do that, and I don't know if you do in terms of teaching it to others, but that's an energy for you that would be very healing, but it would be received well in the public. So the Neptune in the 10th house with the midheaven, for your career, you have to really do spiritual practices and do it in, guess what? The Reiki, how you do, like, because I know you were big into the music and the oils.
Yes,
and
sounds, all the senses.
Right. So that's in Neptune in a creative way, using your imagination. Okay. Because it's in the 10th house. That's what you need to do in the public for your career. Right. So it's really so crazy. And then the 11th house, your Aquarius moon. Okay. Remember how Angela, you guys, if you were on since the beginning, how she was kind of like, just like, like hitting us at the beginning of the information? Her Aquarius moon, she can't even help it. She's a fast talker, and her emotional intelligence is like a brilliant genius savant. And that's what the Aquarius moon is, right? Now we know the moon is at home in Cancer, exalted in Taurus, so that's why for me in Capricorn, it's debilitated. And the Scorpio moons, it's in its fall. But Aquarius moon, it's not a good or bad placement, but it's just, it makes you emotionally a little different, a little weird, bizarre, unique, but a visionary, futuristic. And your emotions and how you emotionally connect to people, it's more friends first.
Yeah.
And it's a friend energy that you're very much the humanitarian, right? The water bearer, right? Bringing water, bringing that, the connective glue and tissue, as I like to say to everybody here with the age of Aquarius, it's like everybody gets a slice of pizza and a Snapple. Or nowadays, I wouldn't say slice, but I would say everybody gets like a vegan slice of pizza and some kombucha.
There you go.
Okay, so
That relates to my human design as well, because I'm a 4/6, and the 4 is the opportunist, the worker, and it's recommended for the 4th lines to become friends before you get into a romantic relationship. Become friends with those. If you want to sell something, if you want to offer, let them get to know you. Show yourself, be a friend first, and then it's a clearer path. So that's.
And that also helps you for your social network and career and any groups and organizations you join, because that's the 11th house, the Aquarius moon. It's a perfect placement. And it's so, you got to watch my moon in the 11th house video. But it's so.
I'm gonna go on that. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll totally love. But it's so important. And then you guys, this is the last 2 that kind of like solidify all that she's revealed to us tonight and just really who she is. Angela has Jupiter and Pisces in the 12th house. And that is so much all that you're doing and sharing with the world. It is literally your beliefs and philosophies, your wisdom and higher knowledge, you being sort of the guru and shaman, right? And connecting to not only the spiritual world and the collective, but foreign lands and foreign cultures, foreign people, right? But sharing this sort of in the dream world, in the subconscious, the unconscious. But what's deep is that you've got a book to write, young lady. You've got a story. You've got to share this in a grander scope, because people need to not just hear it, but as you kind of like cycle it in through your mind and your spiritual energy and aura, then you've got to put the pen to pad, and then people need to receive it in a book form. And so you guys, by 2022, I'm not putting pressure on Angela, but by 2022, 2023, you're going to look for Angela Rose's book. And when she does that, she'll come back on and share it with you, because she's got a book to write. Okay. And remember, Jupiter is at home in Pisces and in Sag, exalted in Cancer. So when it's not only at home in Pisces, but then Jupiter is a co-ruler of Pisces, which is the 12th house, and also Neptune, it's in such a divine, like, and also, just to let you know, not to make you blush on air, you could literally find your husband while you're doing these spiritual practices or in a foreign land. And maybe he's into biology, maybe he's into, science, or maybe he's into being a guru, a shaman, or a philosopher. Maybe he works in the medical field, as an intuitive healer, or just, a homeopathic doctor, right? Or something like that, because the Jupiter in the 12th house, you could literally meet him in a foreign land, or it's that whole energy of just being that divine spiritual healer. Okay. So it's really, that's, and I can't wait for the book, you know what I mean? So, but, and so to finish it off with that, just, it's giving you a little insight, not the whole chart, but
I love it. I love it.
Aries,
so
Angela's Aries North Node on the ascendant. It means you guys, like in a past life, she had the Libra Soft node in the 7th house. So she was all about love and relationships. She was all about peace and harmony and balance. And even the first 30 years of her life, her early years, she kind of mastered that energy. God kind of said, Angela, these are your gifts and talents and your skills. You got this. So maybe even a child, you could have been like, oh, I'm the peacemaker, and oh, can we all get along? And you might have been the glue of your social network of friends. And, do you have any older or younger siblings?
I'm the oldest. I have younger siblings, 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay. So you could have been, and that's trining your 3rd house of younger siblings. So you might, there could be some, instinctual connection you might have with them. And maybe there's times where they kind of like I don't know if it's true, but they could like kind of like not hate on you, but they could gang up on you a little. But
Yeah.
you would be, and you would kind of be that energy of the balance. But then you're going to kind of separate from that, right? And you're going to get more to, and it doesn't mean that you're separating from them, but you're separating from the need to always kind of create that peace,
Right.
fairness, justice, and harmony. And you kind of merge the South and North Node. So in the Vedic astrology, they believe more 50-50, right? I do Western tropical and I study a little bit of the Vedic, but I think it's more 70-30. So between the ages of, you're heading there, but between the ages of 42 and 48, the North Node, we don't know the energy. We're like, huh? What are you saying, God? I can't hear you, right? We're confused. It's an energy that we don't want to obsess over, but it's an energy we have to move towards. So, and I've talked to you guys about this on here and stuff, and, you know, to the audience and stuff. And it's so important, right? The North Node is kind of really like that, like we said earlier, those papers that God gave you. And it's sort of that mission and that assignment. It's this very karmic energy, right? The South Node is more spiritual and it separates and divides and stuff like that. But the North Node is more, it can be a little bit more materialistic, but it's what we need in this Saturnian matrix bubble that we're in.
Right.
But when you follow the North Node and that Lilith and other planets like Uranus and Jupiter and different things in the map of your life in your chart, you don't have to reincarnate. You don't have to be stuck in this matrix bubble, and you can ascend and stay in heaven with God. And you don't have to play this rollout again. And so that's what's so important about learning your birth chart and the map of your life. And your Aries North Node is saying, Angela, you're headed there, and it's time for you to be the maverick, for you to be the leader, for you to be the pioneer, for you to be assertive and more aggressive, for you to take the childlike energy and explore and touch life, touch the people, share the story, write the book, use your Gemini instincts where you're communicating and getting in touch, literally the Reiki in the local community, right? But because I don't want to talk about your ninth house, but because you've got these things in the ninth house, you also have to take that on a higher octave through, and it's so deep, through the internet, online, to communicate the Reiki and the human design to people through the Zoom to the rest of the world. And the book will also help you do that. So it's just so beautiful. And this is where you're going, where you're at, where you're headed. And that Aries North Node is like, it's on you, Angela. You
Yeah, I'm answering the call. I'm showing up. Here I am. It's time.
Awesome.
I've got all this stuff. It's been like 10 years. I have a plethora of information now. So it's okay, I'm being called out. It's time to share it. I'll share the gold.
And be authentically you, right? That Leo Mercury.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you still got to bring in your music, bring in your Reiki energy, bring in your positivity, your light, your remember, I think you were doing your sage. Bring that all with you. Never leave your dynamic, self-expressive Leo creative, because that's the heart, right? The Leo. Be the regal queen and share that spotlight, right? Because the high vibration of Leo, right, is being generous and sharing the spotlight. So as you shine, you help inspire others to shine with you.
That feels great.
Yeah. So it's really awesome. And so you guys, this has been so awesome and so much fun. Now, I do want you to talk a little bit, though, as we end the show, with the essential oils. Like, I think you might have mentioned the site, but just explain, what is the wisdom? Like, let us know what that is. Like,
yeah, these are Cornville, right outside of Sedair. I haven't found a company that is more aligned with the energetics and the spiritual, and the way that they pour all the oils by hand, and they pray with them. They have relationships. So you can't go pick up these oils and get them at Sprout. It's all about the patient. It's all about being in tune with the mother, honoring the earth. It's direct wisdom. We don't offer any blends. It's single oils because they can shift and change as you make these blends. Now you can buy them and make your own, but they've become my best friends, really and truly. Like the one I'm using now and every day is the laurel leaf. I wrote my certificate certification paper on her, and she's despaired of it. So those times when you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, she's confidence in a bottle, putting her on the crown, on the heart, on the solar plexus.
Laura
Like,
leaf?
I can do anything. Laurel leaf or bay leaf. Yep.
Okay.
So she
I'll
is
have to look into that.
courage to love oneself. And she's a spiritual backbone, so it really, if I would say that she's my Aries South Node oil, like to help me to
Aries North
step
Node
out
oil,
and
yeah.
shine and be who I am and have the courage, have the confidence, even, when I'm feeling, like I said,
And
sometimes we
that's
go
Aries
into
North
those
Node is
kind of
also
low
courage
places.
and being brave. Just so you know, it's
Yep.
courage and being brave.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say is the Laurel leaf she's been my number one.
That's awesome. So this sounds like now how did you find them?
The Wisdom
Like,
of
how
the
did
Earth
you even
oils.
connect with them? Yeah.
Another friend, her name is Katie Shell, and I took the certification course with her. I've known her for quite some years, and really just kind of fell in love with the purity and the integrity and the way they speak to like I said, the energetics in the spiritual realm, not just the physical,
That's
and
so
the
important.
education. So I studied with her, I think it was last year.
Okay.
And we'll continue the education and maybe even be teaching my own classes on these oils at some point too.
Okay.
I love that they're so close. They have their store right
that
out
sounds like fun and something I
Sedona.
want to learn. So hey, I'm
Yeah.
always the eternal student. And let me tell the audience, for you guys out here too, it's so important. Just like Angela does, and I do, and anyone who's really about this, you are always learning and studying and growing. And actually, guess what? All of us should be as human beings. Because if you're not willing, and I always say, when you get uncomfortable and you are willing to change, that's where God comes in and does the best work and blesses you. So when you get sort of like so stagnant and stuck, and you're just like, I don't want to learn this. I don't want to learn that. Oh, I don't want to hear about stupid human design or astrology or Reiki. And you're just stuck and you think you've mastered life and you don't want to even open up the door, right? Like Bruce Lee talked about that, like learn anything and everything you can, right? Like Bruce, and it's so true. Like, so when you're that open vessel, that gives God the room as you get uncomfortable, right? And you get out of your fears. Because so many people, they close themselves off, and it's really, they don't want to admit to it. It's this sort of arrogance, but it's really more fear. And so when you humble yourself and you're like, I want to be the student, teach me. And that's how I've been my whole life. Like somebody's like, oh, quantum physics and these essential oils. I'm like, huh, what? Tell me. Like, remember when I heard you and you were talking about human design? I'm like, what's that? I was like, Buzz Bunny, like, and so be hungry in life. Be thirsty for knowledge. Knowledge is love, and always get that. And don't be afraid of learning new things, you guys. It is such an award and a reward and a blessing. So I just encourage and implore you guys. Any other comments or questions there?
We do have a question about the split definition and what that means.
Okay.
So I'm going to just answer that real quick. I'll do one more of these if it's still, oh, maybe not. That's all right. So the split definition means I'm a split definition as well. So it's like I have no connecting gates from my throat to my body. So it's completely wide open here. So it's almost like I feel like my mind, my body are not connected. Like, what's my body doing? It's like there's two people in me. Like I have two. Some people are triple split definition. So if you're a triple split definition, you kind of have this, it's not a disconnect, but you have different areas of the body that it's helpful if you're in contact with someone else that lights up those centers or lights up those gates. So I would say if you're having trouble, connecting the dots or really figuring something out, if you're a split definition or triple split, going out into public, because when we're in public, you're getting all these gates and channels active, and maybe the clarity will come through for you. So even if you're going to, Starbucks and just sitting there while you work, that might help the flow come through more. Or you go to the grocery store and get a little taste of these connections and things, and the clarity might come through more. So it is almost like I have two personalities in one, or two of me.
Okay.
It just depends which part.
How common is that, Angela?
It's pretty common. I don't know the exact statistics. I used to of the split
I don't have that
definition,
though,
but
right?
yours?
I don't think I do. He
My
never mentions
things
what
go down.
definition. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah. My closed out
That's okay.
here.
That's okay. That's all right. We've talked enough about me. But so
Yeah.
that's really fascinating though. So that's very helpful advice
Split.
and great insight, and you know what I mean, because that can be challenging for people. I think a lot of, it's so funny. I think a lot of people can feel that way and not admit to it or not know it or be self-aware about it. And,
Right.
that's, that can
And
be
even
really
in relationships, like if you find someone that bridges your split, like creates that full, it's also one of those mechanic zings, like, oh, I feel really good. Not that we're not complete and whole as we are, but we're kind of working the system a little bit and learning more about ourselves through our interactions with others and what that feels like. So.
Okay. So one last question before we go. Out of the 4 and then that little subset of 5 or 6, in terms of when you would look to, let's say for people dating or marriages or whatever, who works best with who? Or is it not that general? You need to look at the profile numbers
it's
as well?
not general. I mean, projectors can be with generators, but if I'm a generator and if I didn't know about human design and I'm dating a projector and they need to be resting and taking naps and I'm like, why can't you keep up? You're so lazy, or you're this or you're that. That causes the conflict. So as long as you know, or why can't you answer me when I'm asking you a question? You never know. You always say, let me get back to you. And that's frustrating. But if I know your emotional authority, I'm going to expect you and honor you and be like, hey, call me back later and let me know, my friends even.
Oh,
Like, I
see?
know. And so we understand each other. And then there are, like with the profiles, the 12 profiles, some do have more compatibility than others, just like the astrology. But it
Right.
doesn't mean that just because you're a 3-5 and they're a 4-6 that we can't date,
Right.
It's not, but there are different, like, and then you get into the companionship channels, or if you have a lot of electromagnetic, which is I have a gate and you have a gate and we create that zing. If you've got 6 of those, that creates such attraction, but then it's also repulsion. So knowing that, like, we might be really attracted to each other and then we might hate each other in a couple of weeks. So maybe we take a break, it's just all about learning the dynamics. And, if I have a full channel of something, I know that this partner is going to be compromising on some level because they don't have access to this full picture that I do. And I'm teaching them this. So I'm patient with them learning this aspect, or I'm
Yes.
patient with myself because I'm learning this superpower from this person that we're merging with, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge is love. It's the perfect thing for this podcast. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no. So do you do like relationship kind
Yes.
of human design readings for people?
Yeah, absolutely. The relationships are my favorite. So we can
Okay.
do solo, or we can do like 30 minutes, one person, 30 minutes, the second person, and then the last 30 minutes would be kind of talking about how your charts impact each other and how you can relate, what challenges you might face. And that's the case with Reiki as well. We do offer couple sessions. Those are some of my favorites. So where it's 2 tables lined up next to each other, and you have 2 practitioners working simultaneously
Oh, wow.
on the partner, on the couple, either with an intention, or so it's like connecting to self first, and then we do the connection with the partner and merge those energies and kind of create a better flow in all the ways. I mean, intellectual, in the body, in the heart, in the soul, like all
That
levels
is so amazing.
connection.
All right. So one last thing. I am the eternal father. So you could do like readings between the brothers in terms of like their dynamic. So like how they interact with each other, like each brother relationship to kind of create more
Any
peace.
type of relationship.
Yeah.
We need it for these, especially these boys, I tell you. They love it.
This
They're just like,
generation, they call them the alpha generation, our little guys, the alpha generation. Or the
yeah.
crystallines. So they are walking magic.
Right.
You got to watch my Neptune and
Using the
Pisces.
tools.
They are walking magic. They're born in a very wild time. So everyone, listen, this was amazing. Read the descriptions down below. All of Angela's contact information is down there. The sale runs to Sunday. You can just email me at Taylored2U Coaching@gmail.com, and we'll schedule with myself and Angela and set you guys up if you're interested. I mean, you guys, you see the knowledge. $225 is a steal.
It's
And
amazing.
this is like, we're only doing it for this. We won't do this again. Like next time she comes on, we're not going to be doing this. But this is it. And it's such a great benefit. And it's really our gift to you guys. And also, this has just been fun. It's been amazing, Angela. Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
so fun. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Anytime.
I'll be
And
back.
listen, and wait. So we already have you booked for the future for 2 separate occasions.
Right.
One, it's going to be strictly about the whole dream chart. We're going to like go into that, like that 12th house realm, like a full episode. Okay.
Yes.
And then in 2022 or 2023, always God willing, when you have your book.
It now. I have my divine assignment.
And then you guys, Angela is going to have me on her channel because she's going to start her own YouTube channel, and I'll share that with you guys in the future once she gets that going and does it. Because Angela is going to be, oh man, it's going to be awesome. I'm putting it into the future.
I'm with you. I did start my dream journal.
Oh,
I got my homework.
I'm
right on it with you. So all the tips and tricks you offer, I'm telling you, it's really impactful. I'm really grateful.
I received that and I accept that. Thank you. And that's what I try to share with all my clients, because you guys, we can remember and we can heal ourselves, and what Angela and I are sharing with you are some of the best tools. And it's not about like Eric and Angela, it's about you, and it's about this energy. And it's just about what can be shared and taught and learned from one another. Because I'm sure Angela will tell you this, but for me, every time I do a reading with you guys, I learn too. I'm not just teaching, I learn too. So it's always reciprocal.
It's such a gift. I'm like, oh, I get to receive Reiki while I'm giving it. I could be, and for the generators, we're here to be satisfied. Satisfaction is everything. I mean, I worked at banks, bank manager, all of this, had the money, not very happy, let me tell you. But now, past 10 years being in this space, I'm satisfied, and it doesn't matter. So like that satisfaction gives us the energy. So after I do a session or we do this podcast, running around in circles, so amped up. Satisfaction.
That's literally your Pluto in 8th house, Angela. When you were working in the banks and all that, then you had to transform from it. So you went from this banking girl to like this metaphysical Reiki human design healer.
People
That's the transformation, the transmutation of Pluto in 8th house.
That doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God. Great. So, all right, guys, we're going to end the show. Have a great rest of the week and the weekend. Angela, thank you. We will have you back on soon. And you guys reach out to us. All right. Have a good night. And like always, knowledge is love. Have a blessed one. Bye. Good cookies. I think it ended. No. Yeah, I'm trying to get this button to end. All right. Bye.